So early in 2020, we began to see the emergence of COVID-19 related hate against our communities. And I wanted to share with you three examples that are emblematic of what we saw in those first few months. That is really between sort of February and June of 2020. The first example on the left is elderly parents or grandparents who are walking their grandchild in the neighborhood when a group of 20 to 30-year-olds drove by and screamed racial epithets at them. Of course, they were nervous, upset, and anxious, and felt very unsafe. The middle example is a violation of civil rights law, which is a ride hailing company refusing to pick up someone who is Asian American or Pacific Islander. And again, yelling racial and racist comments. And then the last example is one that we here in LA worked on, which was of a middle school child who was physically attacked and verbally assaulted, essentially for being Asian American. He was accused of having COVID-19 and by a bully at the school and told to go back to China. And so when the child responded that he was not Chinese, unfortunately, he was punched in the head 20 times by the bully. And no action was immediately taken during that time by the school administration. So these are just a few of the examples, next slide, that resulted in APCON getting together with Chinese for Affirmative Action and San Francisco State University, both in the Bay Area, to work on COVID-19 related hate against our communities. We launched a reporting center on March 19th of this year, and we found that right away we began to get literally hundreds of incident reports that were reported firsthand by individuals who had experienced them. We believe that came as a result of our being trusted sources in the AAPI community with over 100 years of experience combined. Our form is available in multiple languages. You see those here. So we make sure that even individuals who are limited English speaking can access our forms and report incidents that have happened to them. We've also done significant outreach to LEP communities and immigrant communities. And our reports are available on the APCON website, but we are slowly migrating all of them to our Stop AAPI Hate website, both of which you can access today. Next slide. So right away, we began collecting data with our researchers at SF State and now at many other universities. And so we found that in 29 weeks, we've received over 2,700 incident reports from across the country. As John mentioned, most of these that we've seen and other organizations have seen are hate incidents and not hate crimes. And that's really important for us to remember as we look at remedies and policy solutions. The incidents for us come from 45 states in the District of Columbia. 56% involve or come from the states of California and New York. Women experience hate at a rate 2.3 times that of men, and 7% of respondents are seniors. So what does this tell us? One, that these incidents are widespread. No part of the country is immune. But we know that, of course, significant percentage come from those places that have large populations of AAPIs. We also know that vulnerable community members are targeted. And so it's no surprise, understanding the Me Too movement, that women are experiencing much more hate and harassment than men, and that seniors also are being targeted. At a significant percentage of individuals who've been targeted are Chinese American. And not surprisingly, the other one next is Korean Americans. So what we find in our data is that those individuals who are perceived to be East Asian or perceived to be Chinese Americans are the ones that are hit most hard. What's very concerning is that a significant percentage happen at private businesses. So these include retail outlets, grocery stores, pharmacies, big box retail. And that was especially concerning during shelter in place, when there were very few venues we could go to, and the ones that we needed to go to as all Americans to get necessary supplies, to get food, to get medications. So this continues to be of concern to us. Similarly, we look at public streets, public parks, and public transit, and those also are places where quite a large number of incidents are happening. And then, of course, at schools. We don't expect a significant change after the election. And our lesson here is from 9/11. When you look at what happened, and we lost 3,000 American lives in 2001, and yet Muslim, Arab, South Asian, and Sikh communities experienced a backlash more than 10 years, some of which continues to be with us today, both in terms of hate crimes and hate incidents, and also in terms of policies that target and profile those communities. We are at the 210,000 fatality mark, and so we believe, unfortunately, this violence is going to be with us for at least a decade.